You're listening to Not So Live from Asteroid G. I'm Mike Finkelstein. With me, as always, is...
Princess Josh Schaefer.
And Queen Bee. Still a queen.
Not evil Queen Bee?
Not evil Queen Bee.
Is that implied, or is that just...
Oh, come on. Everybody knows I'm evil Queen Bee. I don't need to say it.
I guess it makes me the woodcutter then.
If only you would do my bidding.
Nope.
So yeah, you are the woodcutter. Okay.
Well, I'm the woodcutter from Big Bad Wolf, not the one... Like, I just randomly show up and do shit and then get fed and leave.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
That makes sense.
It tracks.
So we're going to talk about fairy tales.
Okay.
Now, there's grim fairy tales. There's...
Grimmer fairy tales. There's less grim fairy tales.
Hans Christian Andersen.
Thank you, Hans Christian Andersen.
With his really fucked up Little Mermaid. Which, honestly...
Which is horrifying if you actually know the story.
It's almost like a Korean drama, honestly. Having watched a few and talked with Josh's wife about just how bad Korean dramas are. Setting happens, girl gets what she wants, then bad things occur, and to spite everyone, she dies.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's a karma fairy tale right there. I mean, fairy tales are generally about karma.
But that's Little Mermaid in like a nutshell right there. If you just cast Korean, like made a Korean daytime drama and it just implied the mermaids, I don't think anyone would think anything was off.
I think that's Little Mermaid in a clamshell.
Oh, but
Your drums are right over there. Just go over it. We can pause it.
So there's Snow White, there's Cinderella, there's...
confusingly,
Hansel.
Snow White and Rose Red, which was more Hansel and Gretel than it is Snow White, because it's a different thing, and they just so happens to have a girl with the same name.
Yes. There, Rose Red and Rose White. There's also that one.
Girls just need to stop hanging out with each other because this is causing a weird crossover universe I can't follow.
Then there is...
You talking about the Arrowverse again?
Little Red Riding Hood. There is... Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of stuff that Disney based its crap on, is basically.
Yes, there is a lot that Disney has based their crap on. There's also the
Name
Mother
one.
Goose fairy tales.
Which are
Aesop's
nicer.
Fables. Those are
Slightly, yeah,
they're
more,
like adjacent.
Yes, they're fairy tale adjacent, but they still teach stories, and that's the whole point.
But they teach them nicer.
There is a fairy tale, and I'm not quite sure what the actual name of it is, but it's the Princess with the Golden Hands. Have you ever heard that one?
No, that sounds like
Vaguely familiar.
and also kind of Asian because they really like gold in their
Yes.
fairy tales.
Well,
This one is that I guess if I remember correctly, the woodcutter and his daughter, basically she cries a lot, and I guess the evil being in that story comes along. The witch cuts off her hands, and the prince makes her golden hands, and
it's a Grimm's. It's the girl without hands, and it's
Girl
silver.
Without Hands. Okay,
Yeah,
silver hands. Yeah, that one kept me up for many, many nights after I read that one.
Because
I can't apparently remember any details whatsoever about it, but
why? That's what kept you up. It's like, what was this about?
it's very confusing, those damn Grimm brothers. Write a story somebody can remember, damn it.
So what happens to her? Like after she gets the hands,
She does marry the prince,
Okay.
I believe, and then people die.
Well, because they always die.
Yeah,
He's
they
a
always die.
changeling.
Oh, okay. The prince was?
Okay.
There's a bunch of. I'm just skimming.
He's
but
skimming the story.
I mean, honestly, it sounds like
Speed reading.
fucking Shakespeare's Titus and Andronicus.
I was about to say,
gets raped, loses her hands and her tongue. She gets weird wooden things, and then is just sad, and then
Sticks.
dies. Like,
No, she
what the
doesn't-
fuck were you on,
she
Shakespeare?
doesn't die. He kills the people who raped her, then bakes them into a pie, feeds it to their mother, then kills them and his daughter.
Are you sure this isn't Game of Thrones we're talking about now?
I mean, this is it's the same plot points. Mr.
Damn. George R.R. just stole the whole entire story from the Grimm brothers.
That was Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
Oh, sorry. From the Shakespeare.
Shakespeare, the first Grimm fairy tale teller. Shakespeare, well, it's either Shakespeare or one of the people who got associated to Shakespeare, but some of those people wrote some really fucked up plays.
I mean, most of Shakespeare's stuff.
Basically, what we're trying to tell you is that humanity is fucked. And I think that's going to be the whole thing.
That was Shakespeare's moral this whole time.
This entire time.
Just weren't listening to him.
So, what is everybody's favorite fairy tale? Not Disney
you first.
necessarily.
You have to go first.
My favorite fairy tale? If I have to...
Because Mike's struggling, so you had to... We're going to do the...
Well, I've always been a fan of Snow White. Not just because, I married somebody with that last name, but
and you're also pale and have dark hair.
yes. And not just that, though.
Do you really just like hanging out with like 7 dudes that will do whatever you want?
Well, I actually, off of Facebook, there was a meme about Snow White actually being a vampire. I really like that idea.
I would watch that.
It would make it makes so much sense to me. Yeah.
So she goes, the sunlight comes out and she goes running into the woods. And then she finds 7 blood bags that she gets to hang out with.
7 Capri Suns.
I'll take a little sip off of each.
And they give her diamonds, which is pretty dope.
They do.
So he wasn't dopey because he was dumb. He was just like anemic at that point. And just stumbling everywhere.
That explains the sleepy.
Yeah.
Explains
Grumpy.
so much.
Yeah, grumpy. He was angry from lack of blood.
Exactly.
Happy was delirious.
Doc was into it. I'm just saying.
He's the one that's
He's the Renfield.
He's the supplier.
He's wandering around with his like plague mask that no one saw.
Wow, I'd watch that. I'd watch the shit
I would
out of that.
write
That'd
this.
be
This is
great.
amazing.
Yeah, amazing, right? So yeah, Snow White would be my favorite. But that version.
That version right there is phenomenal.
We should write this before.
I know.
This is copyrighted
We've copyrighted. Yep.
and trademarked in the U.S. and China.
Oh my god, that's so good. You'll be thinking about this for days. It's one of those scripts we need to write. Because I know on that topic, I'm sure there's been at least one, I know I've seen one, of Little Red Riding Hood where the wolf is actually like a werewolf or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of those, I think.
I mean, there was one that had Amanda Seyfried in it that was like Little Red or something. I didn't actually watch it, although I think I bought it for $3, but I buy everything for like $3. So
It wasn't terrible.
okay. That's about the best you can say. It came out during that YA boom where they did all kinds of not really terrible but not great movies.
I really kind of liked the Hansel and Gretel with the guy you don't like.
Butt-faced Jeremy Renner?
Yeah, him. I actually kind of liked it.
That's his actual official title in Hollywood, Butt-faced Jeremy Renner.
I've never.
Dude, he's going to hunt you down, dude.
I hope he does.
Without a special effects budget, he's fucked. Come and get me, you stupid Hollywood star.
Ouch. Okay, Josh, what's your favorite fairy tale?
1985.
What?
Ridley Scott directed with Tom Cruise headlining Legend. That counts. It's a fairy tale. And it's Tom Cruise.
It counts
connected.
as a story.
Fantasy movie.
Damn it, I'll figure something else out.
But that was your one Tom Cruise for the podcast.
Yeah.
You've used it up now.
Damn it.
What's your favorite fairy tale? Tom Cruise's career.
I mean, it has all the perks. Oprah's
I would have taken that as an answer.
Oprah's a magic witch that gives him his career back. And he lives happily ever after.
Josh, you have issues.
I do. But I don't know. I like Shrek a lot.
Okay, well, that's based on all the fairy tales.
He's just doing this to troll you. I know he is.
I don't know. Rapunzel?
Rapunzel's a good
I
one.
like Rapunzel.
Counts. That counts.
That does count.
Like because the traditional version of that, the prince comes and saves her, and then how do they get out of the tower?
The witch throws them out of the tower, makes him blind or her blind. Or something
I think she
like
gets
that.
blinded.
Yeah,
There's just a lot of blinding.
a lot of blinding.
But how do they get?
can't
Like they
remember.
get thrown out, but they survive the fall.
And then they have children. Yeah.
In the tower, I think, right?
How? I'm still stuck on the. It's a tall tower that he has to climb her hair for. Was it just like a little hop or something? Did she only? Was she just growing like a couple short tresses? How do they get thrown from the tower and not die?
I don't think they get thrown from the tower. I think they get thrown from the tower, meaning they are exited from the tower. Like the witch throws the prince from the tower, and then she takes Rapunzel from the tower. But the prince isn't actually dead because he lands in brambles. I think that's how he becomes blind. And then she hides Rapunzel.
The witch had an entrance the whole time.
Yeah. Well, if you watch the Disney version, there's an
Yeah, but
entrance
that's a
the
Disney
entire
version.
time.
That's not the same thing as like the actual fairy tale. Because Disney changes everything.
Okay. Well, anyway,
did you see
tall
Pocahontas?
towers usually have some kind of entrance. from the
Pocahontas
base.
was not a very buxom 16-year-old that somehow managed to meet 2 Johns in short succession.
Don't ruin it for Josh.
I'm a buxom 16-year-old.
Yes, you are.
Deep down, you are.
But I think he falls in brambles, which is how he becomes blind, and then
he wanders around trying to find the tower again, which never made sense to me because he fell
the
out
witch
of it.
puts a pregnant Rapunzel in the swamp, and eventually the prince finds her by blindly roaming the world
for years. And then they get married and they return and live happily ever after.
I know.
But is it really Rapunzel or is it a she-wolf?
No, he's just delirious.
You're making
at
it a better
point.
story already.
He's delirious, and he just just hangs out with this sea hag. Rapunzel, sure, call me what you want.
Okay, so Rapunzel being Josh's favorite. What is your favorite, Mike?
I was going to go with Rumpelstiltskin, actually, because it shows the power of reneging on a deal and still getting out ahead.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will give you this service if you do this one thing for me. Sure, no problem. I'll agree to it without a contract. and then he comes in, he's like, I want this one thing. No. And the courts back me on this.
Right? Wow. That's a very Jew fairy tale for you.
Whoa. Let's not make this obviously racist, even though I totally am Jewish.
We were all thinking it.
Oh, wow.
This is a very...
Wow.
That is a very fairy tale for you right there.
Well, because, there's a lot of them. I'm not sure, that Disney has done, but I'm not sure all of them are, true fairy tales. I can't remember I can't remember what the story that Beauty and the Beast is based on, just that it has a basis.
I think it's Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, how did people die in that one? Because everyone has to come out behind when you do a fairy tale.
I don't think it does.
I thought the Beast died before she proclaimed his love or something stupid like that.
Did she then throw herself from his castle so they both die? Because that seems like how that would end.
Probably. You're probably right.
Probably. Everyone has to die in every fairy tale. That's how that works. Except for Rumpelstiltskin, because the dwarf just gets screwed.
Now, is the Red Shoes a Hans Christian Andersen one?
Is that the one where the girl loses her feet in the end?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because everything. Wow.
Don't covet shoes is basically. I mean, he was a cobbler. Though I think it was.
She dances her feet off, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is what I am saying. Okay, these are.
The ugly duckling turns into a swan. There's nothing negative there, unless the swan is killed afterward and eaten for Christmas dinner. I'm not quite sure if that happens.
It turns into a swan. If you've met swans, that's negative enough. Okay.
So apparently Beauty and the Beast has a happy ending.
Wow.
It's not German, it's French, so...
Okay, so not Grimm.
No, it's not a Grimm fairy tale.
Okay, good to know.
Did not know that.
It's a less grim fairy tale. Where's his list of stories? I need his list of stories.
Which would explain why
Hans
her
Christian
name's...
Andersen?
Yeah.
Well, he did The Little Match Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Which was about a girl who was matches.
Yeah, I think she catches on fire in the end or something.
There's the Tin Soldier.
Yes.
Tin Soldier. Doesn't he get melted down, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets separated from the toy ballerina, and they find each other, and then they decide the only way to survive is to jump in a fire, and then they jump in a fire and they melt.
Yeah.
Then there's The Princess and the Pea, which shows the power of reneging on a contract.
Right?
Yeah, Little Mermaid, Emperor's New Suit.
Well, that doesn't really come a negative for everybody.
Except the Emperor.
Except the main protagonist.
I mean, they all had to see his wrinkly old thing, so...
Yeah,
that's a bit,
everybody did. Yeah.
It's a bit much. No one wants that.
This is a Thumbelina.
Does that one end well?
That one has it, Doesn't she marry the fairy prince or something? Spoiler alert. Marries the fairy prince.
It's been on a few decades.
Okay.
So
he wrote a lot.
Yeah,
Tom Thumb. That one's
Tom
positive, too, I think.
Yeah. He was pretty positive, more or less.
Yeah.
I mean, there were
fairy tales.
There were a few of his stories that were Hans Christian Andersen stories that weren't found until later, so they have a very late production date. But
Snow Queen, what
Snow
Frozen
Queen
was based off of.
Well, that is true, but there's the Snow Queen, then there's the White Witch,
and the Ice Maiden,
and then there's the Ice Maiden.
Yeah.
So there's actually 3 different snow kind of queen stories.
The Jewish maiden. That doesn't sound like that's going to end well for my people. It sounds really bad somehow.
Wait, I thought that was Spaceballs.
She was Druish.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that.
Wow. Yeah, no, he wrote some really fucked up stories. I think that's just the conceited apple branch. Really? You're going to tell us a story about an apple branch? Really? Wow. Yep, the red shoes. There it is. There's that one.
Okay, that's why.
And the jumper. I don't see that one ending well.
Yeah, I don't see that one ending well at all.
I think we all can agree that Jumper was a bad
Oh my
movie.
God, with Hayden Christensen.
It's a terrible movie.
I mean, that was terrible, but obviously the story it was based on from Hans Christian Andersen was also bad. So
Fair point. We'll go with that.
wow.
So there you have it, everyone.
You started this
Fairy
mess.
tales.
This was the podcast you wanted to do.
Hey, you know. Okay, favorite fairy tale villain.
Ooh, villain.
Ooh, that's a tough
Is that still
one.
Rumpelstiltskin, or are you going to go with him as a hero?
Well, I mean, I would say Gaston, but he was obviously the hero of that story. There was a monster living in a castle. Some girl gets kidnapped, lives with him, gets Stockholm syndrome, and he has to go in and save the day. I mean, how is that not the plot of that movie?
That's all I can see
Yeah,
that.
see, yeah, totally.
And her father was clearly crazy.
I mean, no one dies like a little bitch like Gaston, okay?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And in the end, if you, he almost succeeds because he nearly kills the beast.
You know, I would say if Disney's going to go ahead and remake all of their movies, all their cartoons into live action, they really should make all the villains in all the cartoon versions become the actual
I would
heroes.
watch Gaston.
Right?
I would watch the hell out of that, especially if you got like Channing Tatum to play Gaston.
Oh, that would
and
be
then just,
good.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that would have been the movie instead of just like Beauty and the Beast with the chick from Harry Potter. Like,
Right now.
yeah, no.
The guy who played Gaston wasn't too bad. He was the one who played Dracula in the last Dracula remake.
Luke Evans.
Luke Evans?
Yeah, Luke Evans, I
Yeah.
think is his name. He was an okay Dracula.
was
That was an
okay.
okay Dracula movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
I like Maleficent.
Maleficent's good. Gaston would be great. What else is there?
I like Ursula.
Ursula.
Ursula's my favorite.
But how would you cast her as like the hero of that story?
She has a very sympathetic background.
Does she?
Yeah.
No, she is essentially the person who she's the attorney who says you cannot renege on a contract.
Yeah.
See, yeah, she proves it. She upholds the law of the
That's
ocean.
right.
Yeah, and then she gets stabbed for it.
King Poseidon's sister.
Is she?
Yeah.
Is she? Are you sure?
You clearly don't have a 7-year-old daughter who watches the Little Mermaid prequels.
You're clearly correct. I don't have a 7-year-old daughter.
How one woman has to deal with one rowdy child and her 2 normal children. This fall from Disney, Stepmother.
Clearly.
Cinderella, why do you have to always be a burden? I swear, just sit down and do your homework. Now, Mother, I'm going to go play in the matches.
I'm going to go play with fire.
Burn the
Exactly.
place down. That's how she got the name. She's actually the fire starter.
Right?
I like this version. This is good.
But yeah, you really should. Just Disney, there's an idea for you. Stop doing live action with musicals. Just go and make every movie of your villains into heroes.
Yeah. Now Josh and I have to go write that vampire Snow White movie
do.
because that's
I mean, Snow White is in the public domain, right?
Oh yeah. No, but our very specific take now we have to go right so we can claim it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll just take the zombie movie I did and just throw all that in there. Just change it from zombies to Snow White. We're done.
Zomb White.
Zomb White.
Snow Green. Snow White and the 7 Zombies.
Oh, I could do I could do that. Yeah.
Okay, anyway. This has been Not So Live from Asteroid G. I am the woodcutter, Mike Finkelstein.
Princess Josh Schaefer.
And Evil Queen Bee.
And we will see you next time. Like, if you're Evil Queen Bee, doesn't that actually, like,
It means
cancel?
I'm the hero.
Well, I was going to say, doesn't that cancel it out and you're suddenly the good queen?